everybody ready for some exciting streaming? Okay, we're going to be going live in just a second with Jenna and Will Wheaton from television and everywhere else. This stream is brought to you by Alienware. We're just going to say that right up front. You'll see the little bug up in the corner. But yeah, let's stream. Hello.
Hello, Pat.
Hello. We're streaming on the internet. We're live. We
Hi.
They said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Specifically to Pat. Pat was the only one who was told they couldn't get done.
I was
Sorry,
the
go
big
on,
naysayer on the internet. I said it wasn't going to work, but Al Gore was like, no, we're going to do it. It's going to be great. And I was like, seems like a bad idea, Al. We're here with Will Wheaton. Hi, Will Wheaton.
Hi. I'm trying to convince Twitch to host Polygon on my channel, so I'm looking in my web browser, and it does not appear to want to do that.
They said it couldn't be done. Twitch, specifically, about this.
Turns out they were right. Let's see if it...
Yeah, let us know if that happens. And I need to do a thing real quick.
Listen, I love that you're showing... I love that you're showing Thunderbirds from Shout Factory, my channel. But what I want to do is /host Polygon. Yeah, okay. So I set the command. Hold on. It looks like it's changing. There's my big dumb face. Everything's working.
You did it.
Is that your cue whenever you see your big dumb face? You're like, things are working out.
Things are working out.
Everything's coming up, Will Wheaton.
There it is. Yeah. My feet are soaked, but my cuffs are bone dry.
Word is that I'm a little bit quiet in the mic. I'm going to fix that. Just take care of all this fun troubleshooting nice and early. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm also going to...
I just think that the traditional figure out how this works while people are watching it aspect of streaming is maybe one of my favorite aspects of streaming, because everybody does it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. But what I like about it is just like it's a fun little peek behind the curtain of what it's like to stream, which is, to say, harrowing and full of technical issues.
I am very much a novice streamer. I streamed NHL 20 out of my PlayStation 4 for the very first time. It's the very first time I've ever attempted to play a video game that I'm not particularly good at in public. And it was real. It freaked me out. It was really fun. The people that were watching were really friendly and enthusiastic. And we've talked about this before we were live. Like, I just think I'm super lucky that I have attracted into, like, on my side of my event horizon, I've just attracted really wonderful people, just kind, compassionate, gentle, enthusiastic, just good people. And I think you attract what you put into the world. And I've tried so hard to put those things into the world so that people who share those values will be attracted. And when I am just fumbling like crazy, like I can't make the microphone work, I don't know how. I did exactly these 5 things in OBS yesterday, and today the same exact 5 things don't work for some reason. Just knowing that people who do this more than I do, who are like experienced than I am, run into the same kind of hurdles, it's reassuring to me. So hopefully, young novice streamer out there who's thinking about getting started, yes, even we adults who are supposedly professional struggle like you would not believe to get these things to work.
Yeah, for real. If for people who follow Polygon on twitch.tv, which you all should if you don't, we accidentally went live while we were testing our setup on Tuesday. Yeah. And so there were probably some people who turned on to hear Pat and I just like drivel about like nonsense stuff while we practice the stream.
We also make a nice habit of going live and having the mic muted for the first 10 to 15 minutes of the stream, and then just being like, and everyone's chill with it. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we're playing today and get into that side of this thing. Yeah. I think our levels are good. You sound good. You all look good.
Cool.
And we're getting some compliments for the Iron Maiden shirt as well in chat.
Good.
All right, I'm about to become the same size as everybody else. Watch this. Look at
I
that.
can't see it because I'm not looking at the stream, but I bet it was magical.
I believe you.
Yeah. Trust Pat.
All right, we're playing Journey.
Can I tell you how Journey came into my life?
Yes.
Please tell us.
I had the incredible privilege of hosting a brief series for Sony called Conversations with Creators. It was so fun. I sat down with Naughty Dog, and I sat down with I'm blanking on the name of the studio that makes Call of Duty and Treyarch. I sat down with all these different studios and designers and engineers, and we had conversations about the games that they had made and what their philosophies were. And I, as part of my research, Felicia Day said, "Oh, you're interviewing the studio that made Journey, and Journey is one of the most beautiful games you'll ever play in your life." She said, "Listen, don't find out anything about it. Just start playing it. You'll figure it out very quickly, and you're going to love this game. You can play the whole game in about 90 minutes." And I was like, "Okay, great." And I mean, this game's been out for so long. I feel like probably everybody who's going to play it has. But just for the just in the small on the small chance that there is someone watching this who is going to get the gift of seeing this game for the very first time, and who has the opportunity to maybe play this game for the very first time. There is this beautiful, completely unexpected twist that you don't find out until the game is completely over, that recontextualizes the entire experience. And it brought me so much joy when I stumbled into it. It made me weep the first time I played it. So I freaking love this game. I think it's just beautiful. It's yet another stellar example of games as art in a non-traditional narrative structure.
Yeah, I mean, it's had such a profound impact, I think, also on games that came after it in like so many different metrics. But it is just so wonderful to see just this plain color palette. Like this game came out in, I think, 2012?
2013,
Sure.
I think.
2013.
Yeah.
So
And
it
sorry,
was just
real quick to interrupt. Let's get a clean break here. Will, would you mind flipping that webcam on and off again? We've desynced again.
Watch this.
Ooh. And then he never comes back. Oh no, he's there.
Sorry, resume that thought for me, Jenna.
Well, I was just actually thinking about it because I have not. One of our coworkers, Clayton, made a video where he interviewed Austin Wintory, who did all the composing for the game, and the music is just it's so moving and so beautiful and captures the spirit of the game so beautifully. And I was like, oh, exciting! Pat's going to stream this. I can listen to the music. I'm realizing now that I can't hear it. And also that I should not be listening to the music during an interview.
Also, Pat, if you're playing on a personal install, you've played a lot of this game because look at how long your cape is.
Really? I see. I played for about 15 minutes before we went live, or not before we went live, yesterday as I installed it. We're playing the PC version.
Oh, okay.
And it's... Yeah, so I have no context for how long this game is, but I guess I'm doing a good job because I have a really long cape.
The more times you have to, the more times you have to kind of reset. You don't really die in this game. You just kind of like get bumped around, and the more times that happens, the shorter that long kind of cape is the wrong word for it. There is a word that is exactly what that is, and I can't remember what it's called.
A shawl?
I think it's kind of a train.
Train.
Yeah.
I think train is really good, and that the longer the train is, that tends to indicate the more you have played in this game, and then your little person can change from this color to pure white, which is also a really cool thing that takes multiple playthroughs to achieve, but it's just so satisfying.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
I find in both Journey and in real life, the length of your train really defines how powerful you are. And that's why like brides everybody's so differential to brides. It's just that they're so powerful.
Giant train.
They can like triple
long
jump.
Train. Yeah, they can triple jump. They can do a bounce off a wall.
Uh, Triple jump just gave me acid reflux. I had a flashback to 1988, and it was not great.
I mean, I think Journey is such a uniquely soothing game. I feel like I'm glad it was so popular because so many games that have come after it, I think, have really captured this sort of game as like meditation almost,
Agreed.
or like game as emotional release.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so delightful. On the other hand, I know also you've been playing or have played a lot of Red Dead, which is maybe the counter opposite.
So I played my first playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2 was about 100 hours. Then I went immediately into the original Red Dead Redemption
Oh,
because I wanted to it was like picking up the sequel. It was like picking up another book, right?
yeah.
And I loved it. And then went back and replayed Red Dead Redemption 2 so that I would have the contextualization of Red Dead Redemption 1 in a way I didn't have the first time I played Red Dead Redemption 2. So I have spent roughly 300 hours in those two games in the last, I don't know, 5 months or something like that, 6 months. Who even knows what time is?
No, do not.
But I recently, like, I've just been trying to sort of like do different things and play, get outside and play a few different games and stuff. So I picked up NHL 20 when the NHL season ended. Because I'm a massive hockey fan. I'm a huge LA Kings fan, and have been since I was a kid. And I've been playing a fair amount of that. I'm in franchise mode, playing every single game in a season, and because I have nothing but time, I can probably play through 3 or so seasons of that game, and eventually I will get my team to the Stanley Cup, and then hopefully it will be time for us to go back to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way of replacing sports because sports are not happening right now for the most part.
I don't particularly care for basketball. I think the way to make basketball interesting is to give each team 100 points and make the games 5 minutes long. But I love, for basketball fans, I love that, like, NBA players who people are crazy about are playing head to head in the whatever the canonical NBA game is, for like on ESPN and stuff, and they're having a great time and they're loving it. My friend Bailey, who is the mascot for the LA Kings, is doing a thing called the Bailey Cup, where he and other NHL mascots are playing as their teams in a single elimination tournament online. It's just
That's
fun.
funny.
I really do want to really quickly call out that incredible casual flex of saying that you're friends with the mascot of the LA Kings. My friend Bailey.
Oh, I didn't think of it as a flex.
No, it came across.
He's just my friend. But listen, I mean, if that can be a flex, I will take every flex I can possibly.
I feel like there are some situations in which having befriended a mascot is not a flex, but this is definitely a situation where
You should be proud.
I got to bench coach the West Coast All-Star mascots during the All-Star game when it was here in Los Angeles.
Can you please tell us more about
Staples Center? Yeah, so this is great. So I didn't even know that this happened. I'm a huge NHL fan, and I did not know that this existed until this year. The day of the All-Star Skills Competition, they have a game where all the NHL mascots from all the teams, the East Coast mascots sit on one bench, the West Coast mascots sit on another bench, and they play a hockey game against each other as mascots, like in their mascot gear. And they play a whole game. And CM Punk coached the East Coast, and I coached the West Coast. And it was so much fun. It was so silly and so great. And, like, I think, we all know that mascots are people in costumes. And it's a way that we know that actors are people.
We know that?
Characters. Well, I mean, we do now. Sorry.
At
I
least
have
90% of them are really
I have
human.
some really unfortunate Santa Claus and Easter Bunny information to give you. Uh, so
Pat
and
learns live
but
on stream.
what these guys do, like, it's hard work, and it is so impressive and so great. And there's I've just been sort of like adjacent to this wonderful group of people on a number of occasions, and they have such a wonderful camaraderie, and they love the game, and they love their teams, and they love their fans. They're just a positive group of people, um, and I feel really privileged to just be close to them.
Yeah, I can't imagine playing hockey professionally already. I think a very intense skill and a lot of skills involved in it, and also like being a mascot professionally, super intense and a lot of skills and a lot of like physical abilities you have to have. But like if you
Yeah,
meld those together and make somebody in a mascot suit do hockey, that is amazing to me. That's
yeah,
mind blowing.
yeah.
I think I'm not smart enough to play Journey. I should be heading towards that light, right?
You should be, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna. They
So
say don't.
you go down into this valley a little bit,
Yeah,
and then go across the valley. Do you see where there's those big things that look kind of like serpent kites?
yeah.
Follow them.
Okay.
I hope I can go on Etsy and get a kite that looks like one of these because that is just a very good idea.
That's a super great idea.
I hope somebody has done that.
Let's see what's up here.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So one weird thing about isolation is that everybody I've ever played a D&D or role-playing game with now wants to restart those games
Of course.
digitally, which is
Yeah.
great. And I have been getting in on some of them, but it made me think about like all of your experience DMing and playing in games and doing role-playing
Uh-huh.
stuff. I was wondering if you, first of all, have like revisited any games since this time has started.
I haven't. I have spent the majority of my quarantine. I have spent kind of like doing a bunch of personal work. Not to be a giant bummer, but like I unlocked a lot of childhood trauma and PTSD from being a child actor, and having not the greatest parents in the world. And I've had a lot of time to just do personal therapeutic work, and that's really what I've been doing. I'm really grateful that I get to do that. I don't have any like actual paying jobs at the moment. I have a number of unbelievably cool things that I'm not allowed to talk about that have all been postponed. They're all coming up. They're great. Like I have a really exciting career ahead of me when when we're able to go back to work. Um, but it's been I have taken advantage of this time. I have used this time to to really work on a lot of personal pain, and to try to heal a lot of it. And I'm really grateful that I've been able to do that. It hasn't been easy, and I'm I'm not done with it. But it is an absolutely valid way to spend time together right now.
Yeah,
I
I think
love
so. I
I
think it's a
I
great time
love
to be introspective.
these animations tell such a beautiful story too, and I didn't realize that until like the fourth time I'd played the game.
Ah, yeah, they're really reminiscent. I was talking to Pat earlier when we were like playing through this a little bit. They remind me a lot of like Fez. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever
for
played
sure.
Fez. Yeah, just sort of like this hieroglyphic 2D style interspersed with the 3D action of the game,
Yeah.
which I really like. I think it's beautiful. Speaking of things that you're working on that you can talk about, I actually just saw that you posted on your blog that you were in a horror movie that has officially been picked up.
Yes. Yeah, I am beside myself with excitement for this. So about about 18 months ago, um, a filmmaker contacted my representation and asked if I would be interested in working in a movie that he had written and was planning to direct. And I read the script, and I fell crazy in love with the script. It's great. It is a supernatural thriller, and we're if we did it right, the audience should be really unclear on how much is happening inside the protagonist's head and how much is actually real. Um,
Interesting.
the title of the project is Rent-A-Pal, and it's based on a thing that was a real thing. It's set in 1990. In the late 80s and in the very early 90s, there were these things called video stores. Ask your parents about them. You would go there and you would rent videos. So instead of like the way you stream a video now, instead of going to your web browser and saying and pushing play, you would go to the video store and you would check out a tape like a library. You would take it home and watch it. You would forget to rewind it, and then you would take it back to the store. That's how we did
And
it.
get fees because you were a day or two late.
Yep, that's how we did things in the 80s and the 90s. Well, there was a series of tapes that you could get, and it was called like Rent a Friend or something like that. And they would interview actors, and an actor would sit down in a neutral setting and say things like, "Hey, buddy, what's your name?" "Oh, it's really nice to meet you. Well, I'm Dave."
Oh, so it would be like like you would be responding
You would
back
have
to it, like, "Hi, I'm
a
Jenna."
you would be having a conversation with
Wow.
pre-recorded video, and then they would say, like,
Eerie.
yeah, it's real weird, but this was a real thing. Well, the filmmaker came across one of these videos and asked himself, what would happen if you started talking to the video and the video talked back?
That's the ideal case scenario, right? Isn't that the whole point?
Right.
So
So
is it a period piece? Does it take place in the?
it takes place in 1990,
Nice.
and I play Andy, the Rent-A-Pal. So all of my scenes were shot in a studio by themselves in a neutral setting, like we were recording the actual video, the Rent-A-Pal video. And an amazing actor named Brian plays the lead character, who enters into a very unhealthy relationship with Andy on video. And
Okay.
it's just great. I loved the script. I fell in love with it immediately. It's one of those movies that not everybody is going to get it, but the people who like it are going to absolutely love it. And we were picked up by IFC Midnight for distribution. So IFC Midnight is part of the Independent Film Channel, and they are part of the Sundance movement. They're part of the independent film landscape.
It's a great place to discover like new, smaller indie horror films for anybody out there for whom that is interesting.
Especially Midnight, because they do shorts.
Exactly.
They show really terrific. You know, there is, I feel like I found it on Reddit, like a directory of people that have made horror movies that are like 3 to 5 minutes long. They're really clever. They're really creative. I really like them. And I like that there are really creative people working in that space, just doing really interesting, really creative things. And I'm just so happy that I got to be part of it. So it's on IFC Midnight. I believe it comes out in the fall. And I'll write about it in my usual places when it's going to happen. I'll make sure that people know that they can see it. But the big thing that I'm really excited about is that we're going to get to be in a bunch of theaters all over the country. And IFC Midnight has been putting movies in drive-ins the way that you would have Grindhouse double features in drive-ins in the 70s. And there's a non-zero chance that we get to be one of those. So I'm really, really excited about it, and I'm super proud of it, and I'm just so grateful that I got to be part of it. So the project is called Rent-A-Pal, and I hope that all of your viewers will check it out, because
It sounds great.
It's great.
Yeah, I love the idea of seeing like a 80s, early 90s throwback movie in a drive-in theater is just like, oh, that would be so good.
Also, the art direction, the costuming, just everything in this is top notch. But the art direction and the costuming is extremely authentic, and it was fun. It was fun to walk into the set and feel like it was 1990 again.
Do you? So Pat, what's up?
No. I was just gonna say, like, I'm trying to remember what I was wearing in 1990. And I think the only
you probably would prefer not to.
It was acid wash, Oshkosh bagosh.
Sweet. Nice.
Sorry, go on.
Really good, really good.
I'm just curious. Like, do you enjoy? Because you play like a version of yourself on The Big Bang Theory, but like
I
kind
did.
of like a jerk, like a rude version of yourself. Is
Right.
it?
He was pitched to me as a delightfully evil version of myself.
Is it
And
is it fun to play villains, and is it fun and or weird? Like what is it like to play an evil version of yourself?
the best part of playing a villain for me is that villains are nothing like me. Like, the villain is the hero of their story.
Mm,
So the villain has to justify everything that they do. And even like the most interesting villains, even somebody like Sideshow Bob, like they are so justified from their point of view and their goals and um, uh, their rationalizations. I have to know those. It's really fun to do that because I'm just not that kind of person. I do my absolute best to be kind and compassionate and gentle and to treat people the way that I want to be treated. I do not take any joy from punching down or from making people feel bad or from trolling people or bullying at all. And the early episodes of Evil Will Wheaton he was kind of a trolly guy who really enjoyed that. And what the writers figured out, and what I'm so grateful for, is they figured out that that was really fun, but it was the same bit every time. And if we changed the relationship and made me an ally rather than an adversary, then there was a whole world of stories that we could tell. It just opened that Will Wheaton up to be so much more interesting and multidimensional.
yeah.
And that's when I think the character really came alive. And that's where he and I are very different in ways that probably only matter to me. One of the ways that we're very similar is we both had this child acting career that gave us a lot of opportunity, but also gave us a ton of pain, and that we were able to explore that inside the boundaries of a situation comedy, and it was really cathartic for me. I felt really happy that I got to share a little bit of my personal story through that character. Not a lot of actors get to do that.
Yeah, that's true in a lot of ways.
And I should, and I, like, I don't know if it matters to anybody else, but like, I want everyone to know, the cast and crew, the writers, the producers, the studio and the network, everybody involved in the Big Bang Theory could not have treated me with more kindness, more professional respect. They made me feel not just that I deserved to be there, but like they were glad that I was there, that I was bringing something to the experience. And I am so grateful to have been part of that family for almost 10 years.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I miss it all the time.
I just want to call attention to how beautiful Journey is.
Yeah.
Just in the background, that whole sequence of when you're riding down that giant hill
I have
and
a
coming
friend.
across like the sunset.
And
Yeah.
you've made a friend.
Yes, I'm so glad. I was worried nobody else was playing this game.
The the absolute best part of Journey is making friends. So I guess if you haven't played Journey before and you intend to, because I've been telling you how great it is and you've been watching it, um, do yourself a favor, and as long as I'm holding my hand up, mute your speakers. Okay, so here we go. Mute your speakers. When I found out that I was playing with other human beings, when I found out at the end of this that this wasn't AI, that these were other people who were communicating with me, who were helping me, who were making the time, part of their enjoyment of the game was to help me rather than hinder me. I was just like, why every game needs to be like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate. I feel like more and more games are giving players tools to communicate without having to use voice chat, which is I just mute voice chat in every game I play if it's possible, just because it's such a it's risky.
Garbage
I
fire.
find it risky.
I think garbage fire.
Garbage fire is
Probably what you're looking
and
for.
accurate. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
I really appreciate, like I know Apex Legend came out with like this ping system where you can just like drop a ping to be like here's an item, and you don't have to use voice chat, it just pops up on their
Yeah.
interface, and I think more and more games are incorporating that, which like whew,
Yeah. Well, it's great, right? Like designers who grew up on the first and second generation of games, who are maybe a little bit younger than I am, are taking the experiences that we all had when we were so excited for multiplayer online gaming, and then we were like, "Wow, this is just a bunch of misogynist jerks.
Yeah.
Like this, there's nothing fun about this." And finding ways to work in tools and with design. I know a bunch of really great, real clever designers, and they call it dick proofing, where you go and you proof something, you make something so it's dick proof, so that somebody can't come in and be a dick and wreck it. Um, and I feel like there's a non-zero number of designers who kind of want to use that design philosophy.
Yeah.
How can we reward people being cool? Like I loved Destiny until I had to play with other people, and I was just like, you are goblins. You are the worst. There's like I can't stand it. I'm so very sorry that I have not spent the thousands of hours playing this that you have. I'm gonna make mistakes. Give me a break, dude.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
gets rough in
like
Destiny in particular
it's
when it's like when it's clearly the group you're with, like, okay, everybody has done this raid a dozen times, and
yeah.
they get very passive aggressive. But yeah, I do love Destiny though. I do love it.
Yeah,
Since
I was playing Long Winter, or Project Winter, I should say, the other day, which is like a hidden role sort of survival game, and the community is mostly very good. But the very first game I played, the trader was winning pretty substantially, and it got down to the point where I was the only person alive that was not a trader, and just like this dude on voice channel, his response to that was he was so excited about like being super mean to me the fact that like he was just definitely going to kill me, like there was just no way for me to win. But it was just this weird situation where it was like clearly this person has so little, like they're just so excited to have any amount of power over somebody,
yeah,
and that they get to like abuse it and just like really stick it to somebody, and they're just so excited about it, and it's like that makes me so incredibly sad for that person. But it also, on top of that, makes me angry because it's shitty.
yeah. I think that it's really normal and really healthy and very human to have all of those conflicting emotions inside of us at the same time, because everything is complicated and people are complicated and life just is not black and white.
Yeah. And my instinct sometimes to empathize people, it has to be balanced out with my desire to hold them responsible for their own behavior.
My son has been playing a ton of World of Warcraft since quarantine happened. So let me look at my calendar. My family has been locked down for 78 days. We started doing this kind of before the actual orders came down, because I have this great show called Game Master that I want to talk about
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go to location to work on Game Master. And just because it was looking like things were starting to get out of control, and the public health officials were saying we're going to have to change the way we do things, and this is going to be with us for a little while. So my partners in Game Master were like, we just have to we're going to have to postpone until everybody can be safe. But before that decision was made, we were all proceeding as if, okay, we can stay safe, we'll all we'll start quarantining now. That was obviously wasn't enough. Um, so we've been doing this for 77 days, 78 days.
Wow.
And my son Nolan is 28, and he had been living out of state. And when all of this started, he was visiting his mom and me, and he was just visiting us at our house. And then all the lockdown stuff started, and he was in transition. He was moving from one place to another place. He was about to start a new job, start a new career, and go do all this really cool stuff with his life. And it's all been put basically on hold for close to a year. So because we're really lucky and really grateful that he's able to stay here with us and be in our house and be safe and be close and all that. So he's been spending a lot of his time playing Warcraft because there's like just not a lot, just not a lot of other stuff to do. He can't really work.
Yeah.
And he he has his computer set up in my game room where I play NHL 20, where I play board games, where I play Mr. Do on my arcade emulator multiple times a day. It's sort of like it's my kind of hangout. It's my clubhouse, and I've opened up the space to share the space with my son. And I just think it is the coolest thing in the world when I listen to him playing this game. So he's on Discord with his friends, and then he is playing the game, on whatever on his computer, and they will be in a PvP. And Nolan's really good at this game, and he really understands it. He sees it in a beautiful mind, mathematical way that I don't understand. But
Yeah.
I'll hear him tell. They'll play a battle. He and his friend will have a battle, and then Nolan will say, "All right, let's walk through the like what you did, and I'm going to help you get better." So
Oh
like
wow. Okay.
I was doing, I was doing this thing, and you did this thing. So if you had done this other thing, then it probably would have been harder for me to do that. And they build up their skills together, and he looks for new players and takes new players under his wing. And he was playing with a group of people. They were doing a raid, and there were players that just really didn't have a lot of experience, and Nolan was being really patient with them and sort of walking them through, okay, like this is what you have to do so we can take down this boss. You off heal, so you have to what to benefit, to get the most out of that, you need to be
Right.
doing your DPS over here and your off healing over there. And I'm like, I know what all of these terms mean, and I have no idea how to play this game.
Yeah, I think there's that great line from Adventure Time that's like the first step to being bad at something is the first step to being good at something, and I think
Dude,
that's
the line is, dude, sucking at something is the first
the
step
best step
to
at being
kind of good at
good at something.
It's so true. It's so totally true.
Yeah, and I think it's something that people who are just starting out doing something forget, and I also think it's something people who are very good at things forget, is like that there's a period of time where you're so dumb you barely even know how to learn how to do a thing.
Yeah. Well,
But that passes, and then you just got to keep at it.
my friend Michelle Morrow is an esports expert and is extremely knowledgeable in that entire world. And when I made the deal to do Game Master, I told her, like, so there's like these games that I've just never played, and I need to be familiar with them. I have a responsibility to know what those games are. And she came over to my house, and we spent the majority of a day playing all these different games, and she was talking me through all of them. And they're very complicated, and they're just not games that I want to play. It's just not fun for me. um, but I was so just blown away by the level of complexity and the intensity with which people follow these games, and the pro players. And it's a whole world that I have a lot of respect for, if not a ton of like front row knowledge in.
Right.
And now that we've had this time to sort of be home and be locked down, I have actually had time to try these things and get familiar with them, which will make me a better host and a better commissioner and game master.
Yeah.
Can you hear my dogs trying to make the mailman go away?
Oh, a little bit. Can you hear the people outside my window playing music very loudly?
Uh, that sounds way better than my dogs just barking their faces off. The thing is, the mailman drops off my mail, and then he leaves, and I swear to you, it's like my dogs turn around and they're like, all right, once more we have defended the house from the mailman.
That's true. The mailman probably never breaches the walls, so those dogs probably think they're doing a great job every time.
Whatever it is that's in my street that only they can see every afternoon, they are barking at it, and they have protected me from it for 11 years. So they're doing a great job.
So tell us a little bit about a Game Master. You mentioned that your project coming up.
I'm so excited for Game Master. It is a reality esports competition show. A diverse group of gamers from all over the place come together and live together and play tons of different types of games. And it's an elimination tournament. And at the end of it, we'll get down to 2 players who will compete head to head in a live finale. to see who is the game master and to see who wins $100,000 prize.
Is the Brit? Give me a sense of the depth of games that you're going to be like. Is it like just like all esports, or are you going to be throwing in like hopscotch? Are we doing like some competitive crossword? Like how much game?
You're asking absolutely the right questions. You're asking the same questions I asked. I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be a diverse group of games, and it is going to be games that are unexpected, and it's not just video games. We'll have some other games that I really care about that the players will need to play,
Crokinole.
and hopefully because my fundamental rule, the thing that people associate with me more than anything else, is don't be a dick. And I told the people involved in the show, like, there are reality shows where they just bring in people who are dicks and they elevate them, and I am not interested in that at all. Like there are enough terrible people in this world who have been elevated to places where we can't tune them out, and that's awful for a lot of us. So I didn't want to elevate awful people. So they're like, nope, that's not the kind of people we're bringing into this. We're bringing in really cool people. We want to show, like, we want to focus on and highlight and celebrate everything that we love about gaming. And I'm so excited to be part of it. I know that you've got great sponsorship here from Alienware. We have great sponsorship from AMD and Zydax. It thrills me that these big companies are on board, that they want to be, that they just want to be part of this with us. I know who our competitors are, and I'm so excited to meet them. And the show's just going to be really, really fun. I don't believe I am allowed to talk about where it's going to premiere, but it will be online.
Okay.
And if we were not living through a pandemic, we probably would have completed our first season by now. Because we are living in a pandemic, our first season, we'll start production as soon as we can, as soon as it's safe. And then I expect we'll be on the air within 1 year. I expect probably on the shorter side of that, maybe close to the maybe spring of next year, maybe fall of this year. It just kind of depends on what the turnaround is. But at the risk of just like rambling on and on and on about all this stuff that I'm doing, we started an initiative at Game Master. We have a lot of resources available to us. We have a lot of production resources. We have people that build things, that design things. We have costumers, and we have carpenters, and we have prop builders. We just have all these people involved who aren't doing anything now while they're waiting. So we got a whole bunch of 3D printers. And we put all of these people to work making PPE for frontline healthcare workers. And we started an effort called Gamers versus COVID-19. And what we're doing is we are acting as a matchmaker for people who own 3D printers and want to make masks or shields or head straps or whatever it is that a frontline medical caregiver needs. We want to match up the people who own the 3D printers with the people who have the need for those PPE. So they can the people who need them can say, hey, I'm in Oklahoma City and this is what I need. And then these gamers can say, hey, I'm in Oklahoma City and I can make this many masks in a day. And then we help them get together so that they can help each other out. And it's a really neat thing to do because it's just kind, and it is a way that I think that a thing that's going on right now, and I think that this is expressing itself in online gaming, and it's expressing itself just in the world. It's scary. If you're not scared, there's something wrong with you. If you're not scared, you're not taking this seriously. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. There is unbelievable cruelty in the world right now. America has had the worst response to this in the entire world. We have had just tens of thousands of avoidable deaths, and that is deeply upsetting to me. It has to be upsetting to other people, and it's easy to just feel completely out of control. There's like there is no Normandy to storm here. There's no Wolf 359 to have like a big showdown and see who's going to win this thing. All we have to do is trust our scientists and our medical professionals
and empower them to make decisions and make the changes that they need to.
Exactly. But one of the things that I think we can do that will, I hope, help all of us who are feeling disempowered and afraid and unable to actually do something to make a difference here. Gamers versus COVID-19 is hopefully putting a bit of empowerment into the world at a time where disempowerment is just rampant. And one of the things I am super excited about with it is our sponsors are going to give printer filament to the people who own 3D printers who make PPE. We will replace the filament that you use, so it doesn't cost you anything.
That's great.
And then our sponsors, our big hardware and fancy pants gaming sponsors, are giving away gaming rigs and laptops and monitors and accessories and all kinds of really cool stuff. So you can go to gamemaster.tv if you want to find out more about this, if you're interested in being involved in it, and sign up, and somebody will get in touch with you. We would love it if, even if you're not going to participate in this, if you think it doesn't suck, if you would share it, if you would post about it on your social networks and just kind of let your group of people know about it, so that we can spread this as wide as we possibly can and get as many people together as we possibly can to help make a difference.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. I hope people do check it out. I checked it out the other day. I was looking through it and it looks like a really good initiative. So I hope people check it out.
Yeah, me too.
I did want to talk to you because I know you're a board game, arguably expert.
You could, I mean, I have been accused of that.
So I'm just curious if you have any recommendations for like games that people can play now. Like, are there good games that people can play board game style on their computer? Because we've done some playing around with. I don't know if you've played with Tabletop Simulator at all, but it does that. But I'm curious if there's other stuff.
So my gaming group just fractured and just kind of broke up because we're all adults and we had to move all over the country for our jobs. And
it'd be hard, yeah.
And one of us had to move out of the country for work. And they have been looking at Tabletop Simulator and kind of figuring out how to use it. I haven't used it yet, but we're planning to get together this weekend and give it a try and see how it works.
I mean, we played Cosmic Encounter, which is a board game through Cosmic Encounter is great, and I was floored at how effective this interface was at replicating the experience of playing a board game with friends.
I presume you're familiar with Magic the Gathering?
Yes, I used to play. Like all nerds, I used to play Magic.
Of course you did. Richard Garfield says that Magic exists in part because of Cosmic Encounter. He liked that Cosmic Encounter let you break the rules. That you could play as different factions, and whatever faction you were, you had a way that you could break the rules to your benefit, and that he felt that in Magic you could play different cards that would give you benefits and let you break the rules, and that formed a lot of his design philosophy for Magic the Gathering. So thank you, Cosmic Encounter, which has been around since the 80s.
Wow. I had no idea it's been around that long.
So I haven't tried Tabletop Simulator, but I have a huge board game library, and my wife and I spend a lot of time playing 2-player games. So some 2-player games I recommend are Patchwork, Takenoko, Illimat, Jaipur. All Creatures Big and Small is the 2-player version of Agricola, and it's maybe my favorite 2-player game.
Interesting.
It's a very heavyweight game, so not a lot of people play it. I don't recommend it if you're not already an Agricola player, because I think it'll turn you off. And then at this time also, like, any of the cooperative games are great, especially if you're quarantining with your kids. Cooperative games are wonderful because you all work together, and kids learn how to be part of a group. They learn how to share ideas and negotiate ideas and take risks and be supportive when things aren't necessarily working out the way that you want them to work. And it takes the competitive element out of the game. And some of the games that I recommend that are like that are obviously Pandemic. It's thematic and on point. Pandemic Legacy is one of the
Ooh.
one of the most fun gaming experiences I've ever had. We played 24 games of Pandemic Legacy. The legacy games, for people who don't know, are board games that you buy and then you're going to play them through one time. You're not going to go back and replay the game, and that might turn you off. You might think, why am I going to buy a game that I can only play once? It's because you fundamentally change the game every time you play. You change the board. You put
Yeah,
stickers
like you're
on the
ripping up
board. You
cards and you're
tear
marking.
things up.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they came out with a
so great.
legacy for Betrayal on the House on the Hill, which is one of my favorite board games, and I
Yes,
keep meaning to tack that down and get that.
I've
But
been
maybe
trying to
that
get a
would be
group together to play that, and we just haven't been able to, which is a giant bummer. But I'm just going to drop Joe Manganello's name because we played D&D together, and he had been playing it, and he said it's really, really, really fun.
I bet,
Uh,
because I mean the base game on that is so good, and I can see it just playing just the original game, the potential for how that could spiral out into a legacy style game. Ooh, I want it.
If you haven't seen our tabletop episodes of Betrayal at House on the Hill, I think you will enjoy them. We had a really great, really unexpected haunt that none of us saw coming. That is so satisfying and so much fun. And then I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that there's a group of people who have a 3-story Victorian house somewhere, and every Halloween they play a full-size version of Betrayal at House on the Hill where they actually move between the floors.
Oh no, I want that.
To play out the different scenes that happen in the game.
Oh no, I want that so bad. Oh no.
Yeah.
I can't believe I know that's a thing that exists now,
Yeah.
but probably
Yeah.
will
I
never
mean,
get to do.
I don't know if it is real, but if talking about it inspires someone to make it real, my work here is done.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of using your powers to bring that into the world. Oh my god.
Just to let it is 3:56. Will, I don't know what your hard out is. If you're about ready to dip out, we can let you do that, and we can say thank you very much for joining us.
That time flew.
So is there anything that you really wanted to touch on that we didn't touch on?
Yeah.
I did want to ask you. I had D&D questions, not
Great.
many, but I'm just super curious. Like, do you? Because you're a professional actor.
Yeah.
So you get a chance to inhabit roles a lot, and I know D&D is not quite the same thing as acting; it's more like improv. But I'm just curious if you like strongly prefer being a player or a DM, and like why.
That's a really great question. I don't really have a preference. It kind of depends on how much time I have, because being a DM requires a lot of prep.
Yeah.
When I am playing any role-playing game, it's so funny. All of us from my show Titan's Grave have an email chain happening right now, just sort of catching up with each other. When we play a game together, it's collaborative storytelling.
Oh.
And everyone is working together to keep the story alive and find meaningful story moments for each player character, and to discover things in the world that we may not have even known were there. Like, the whole point of this game, as opposed to playing a video game, is it goes wherever the player's imagination takes it. There's just no constraints. And I enjoy being a dungeon master because I can really facilitate that using the improv rules of saying yes and as often as possible. And I do the same thing as a player, but it is the difference between being the runner of the showrunner in a writing room and being an actor on the set. That's the difference between being the DM and being a player. They're both really satisfying for really different reasons. If I had to pick one and I'm never allowed to do the other thing ever again, I would pick being a showrunner. It's the same way if I had to choose between being a writer and an actor, I would choose writer in a heartbeat.
Fascinating. Okay.
It's just luckily I don't have to make that choice.
Yeah.
But I have treated D&D like collaborative storytelling since I was like 12 years old in 1983.
Okay. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say to the audience before we release you? Before I tear your contract in half and you're allowed to go back about your business?
Oh, you're going to give me a sock?
Yeah.
Uh, I just wanted to say thanks for spending time together. I haven't been watching chat. I don't know if you like me or not. I don't know if you're like, get rid of this guy. But I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed Journey. And I hope that if you haven't played it in a long time, or if you've never played it before, that watching Pat go through this world, and he's coming up to what is maybe my favorite part of the game. This is the part of the game where I had a revelation. The first playthrough was in this part of the game, and it was really cool. And if you care to interact with me at all outside of this environment, here's where you can find me. On Facebook and Instagram, my account name is It's Will Wheaton. I am not on Twitter on account of the fascists. My blog is at willwheaton.net, and my podcast is radiofreeburrito.com. I don't know how many of you know that I am a New York Times #1 best-selling audiobook narrator. I'm really, really proud of that, and I'm really grateful for it. I've gotten to work with some amazing writers and incredible directors, and I have had the tremendous privilege of bringing a lot of books to life for listeners. And while we have all this time now where we can't exactly work, I wanted to stay productive, and I wanted to use the skills that I have to put something good into the world at a time where there's a lot of bad in the world. And I thought, well, look, you know what? As an entertainer, the thing that I can probably do most effectively is entertain. I can create something that at the end of the day you can just sort of lose yourself in and not not have to worry about the world being on fire for a half an hour or something like that. So I went to Project Gutenberg, which is a large online resource of public domain texts, and I started picking out classic works. I started picking out pulp science fiction stories, and I began narrating them and releasing them for free on my podcast feed. So I call it Radio Free Burrito Presents, and I release free audiobooks a couple of times a week. It's really, really fun. I do the readings cold, so I've never read the thing before. I just sit right here where I'm sitting, and I read it off the screen into a microphone. I make mistakes, and I back up, and I read them again. It's a lot. It's very much a live to tape performance without a lot of editing. If I did editing, that would make it work. And I believe in getting paid for work, but I'm not doing this for work. I'm doing this because I want to give something to the world where this thing that I happen to be good at could maybe not just go fallow during this time where I'm in my house 20 hours a day for 78 days now. So I've been doing that a lot, and I would love it for your viewers to check it all out. And I'll give you the URLs one more time. On the social networks, I'm It's Will Wheaton. On the blogs, I am willwheaton.net, and my podcast is radiofreeburrito.com.
Yeah. And if you're there in the Twitch chat, I popped the address for Will's Facebook and Instagram down below the stream, so you can.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, producer Pat.
Yeah. Oh, and also I'm It's Will Wheaton on Twitch.
Are you gonna stream more?
Yeah. So I think that. So I have this idea. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I have this idea, and for this idea to happen, I need to be a Twitch affiliate. So I have to stream every day, so that I have streamed at least once every day of the week. And I will be fulfilling that requirement very likely with NHL 20 over the remaining of this week and maybe over the weekend.
Nice.
I'm It's Will Wheaton on Twitch as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming and joining us. Thank you for talking with us. It's been a delight, and you've been a delight, Will.
You're so kind. Thank you. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for your support. Please, please cover your face with a cloth covering when you're outside. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for my 77-year-old agent who is a breast cancer survivor and will die if she gets sick. Do it for my friend's dad, who is 80 and has Alzheimer's and doesn't really understand what's going on. And if he gets sick, he will die.
Do it for yourself. Honestly, do it for yourself. Do it for everybody.
I think if you have to be reminded to do it, that you're probably not willing to do it for yourself because you think it's not a real thing, and that makes me really sad. And it's pretty selfish. It's just, if I could just leave you with one thing, it would be don't be a dick, and please be kind. But please just cover your face and remember to stay away from people when we're out. We should behave as though we are all asymptomatic and we don't know if we're going to get another person sick. And the kind, responsible, selfless thing to do is to put the needs of the many above the needs of the one. Yeah. So keep your distance, wear your mask, wash your hands.
Don't be a dick.
And don't be a dick.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will Wheaton.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, Will.
All right, bye.
Take care.
You're on a mountain now, Pat.
I'm on a mountain. Hang on. I gotta here's our 2-up view, and now I gotta just update my Jenna window. Where's my Jenna? There's my Jenna.
Jenna window.
How you doing, Jenna?
I'm good. How are you, Pat?
I'm doing just grand.
How has the feeling of playing Journey been going?
Honestly, I'm loving it. Oh, no, can't make that reference. This is a sponsored stream. Oops. Honestly, I miss fast food. Yeah. I'm not gonna order fast food, but I miss it. I guess I've just been missing that since I came to New York, because it's a lot harder to just get a decent fast food experience here in the Big Apple.
Oh, let me ask you, because you've been in New York longer than I have. What do you consider Shake Shack fast food?
I consider Shake Shack fast casual.
Ooh, I forgot fast casual was a demarker of a food. Yeah, I guess fast casual is fair. It feels like it's too good quality to just be fast food.
Yeah, or it is really good though. I do love a Shake Shack.
I do too. That's I think the thing I miss most, food wise.
Journey fucking rules.
Yeah.
This is my first time playing it, and this is so good.
It's so beautiful. I love the segment where you're Shadow of the Colossusing the giant drapery creature in and out of the dust pools. Ugh.
But we're just buds. There's no antagonism between me and that big curtain machine. It's just I'm going to ride around on your back, and you're going to be fine with it.
It's so good.
Well, Jenna, I'm going to do a quick Alienware plug, because once again, this stream is presented by Alienware, and the thing that I am genuinely impressed by here is that, okay, normally when we do these streams for Polygon, we have a machine that's running the game. We have a big fucking 20-pound computer that we are using to run all the stream stuff. And I was worried when they're like, hey, we're going to do a streaming series from home. I was like, that's not, and we're going to be recording it, and we're going to be having people Discording in, and we're going to be playing PC games. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And I am actually genuinely...
I said it couldn't be done. I understand now. You're the one who said it couldn't be done.
I am always the one who says it couldn't be done. Anyways, the short version is that we're running Discord and this game and OBS and multiple displays and everything from one Alienware laptop, and I frankly don't understand how it works. So that's the end of the Alienware plug, presented by Alienware. Boom. I'm going to keep going across this bridge.
I love it. Yeah, hilariously, so I have an Alienware laptop in my apartment, and it's the only full-sized keyboard I have access to, because I'm an idiot and I did not get a full-size keyboard for my actual desktop gaming PC. And what I've learned as I've been practicing Blender is that it's kind of super important to have a full-size keyboard, because all of the extra shortcuts you get with the number keys. And it's been a nightmare not having that. So I'm cracking open Alienware and starting to do Blender stuff in there just so I have access to a full-size keyboard. This has been a story about why I'm a fool and a dingus for not just getting a full-size. I don't know why I didn't.
That's the number one selling point on these Alienware computers. They say full-size keyboard. Hey, are you looking for a full-size keyboard? Don't buy one online. Buy an entire new computer. Oh God.
And they got me. So
They got you.
It's an extremely targeted ad.
Have you played this game, Jenna?
No, I have not. I've
Okay.
played like the first level and really enjoyed it, and have watched all of the game being played a couple of times, mostly like hanging out with people or watching streams or something because it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
just so beautiful.
Gorgeous. But I think this thing is going to be mean to me if I don't hide from it, so I'm going to hide in here.
It does have a searchlight, which is highly suspect.
Yeah, what do you need that for?
Yeah, what are you searching for? Because it's going to be inside you. You can search these dunes, but the real dune is inside you.
Oh no, I can't get into this particular cargo container. Hang on. Should we wrap up? Should we call it a stream?
I think we should. Yeah. Thank you everybody in the chat who came and hung out with us and chilled a little. Hopefully there wasn't too much isolation talk. I know it's hard to get away from, but mostly we hope you enjoyed hanging out and watching Journey.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and thank you everybody in the chat for being super rad and cool as usual. Sorry we don't get to be as chatty on these interview streams, but that's sort of the nature of the beast. But we'll be back with what was that's just a normal way of talking.
Yeah, you just slipped it right in there.
We'll be back with some more streaming in the near future and some really exciting streaming too. But I'm not going to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, we can't spoil it, but it's going to be dope. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be really good. And also subscribe to Polygon.com. If for some reason you're in this Twitch chat and you don't already follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Polygon. Jenna's social media stuff is down below if you need some good stuff there. And that's going to be it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back when we're back.